I have the brand new TaylorMade P790s for 2025 in my hand today, and I also have the Mizuno 925 JPX Forge. These are two of the most popular players distance irons on the market. We're going to put them head to head and stay around to the end because we're going to compare the data and see which one comes out on top. All right, kicking us off with the looks, I'm going to start with the brand new TaylorMade P790, and it is stunning. Obviously, the badge bang smack in the middle, which if you are to combo set, it's going to go great with the 770 CBs and MBs if you choose to do so. Just a great looking club in general. Nice thin top line, which is obviously new for this generation. And again, there's a little bit more kind of curvature on that sole as well to give you better turf interaction. Moving on to the Mizuno JPX 925s. They just look class. Mizuno don't make bad irons, and this looks brilliant. A little bit going on the sole, but we'll get to that in a second. Nice thin top line. A little bit bigger in comparison to the P790, but when you sit it behind the ball, that leading edge really does look very, very clean. So for the players, maybe slightly better ball strikers, this is going to look very nice on the eye. All right, so quick rundown of the tech. We'll start with the P790. Still has the Speed Foam Air, which is a fan favorite. Obviously that gives you that nice, quick, explosive sensation off that face. But what they've also done is they've got a brand new 4340M face. That's a new material. So it's thinner, it's lighter, but it's stronger by 20% compared to previous generation. Not only that, the sweet spot is bigger by 25%. Now, we all like a bigger sweet spot, and it just means those miss hits are longer and straighter, whilst also still getting great feeling off this club head. Still got the speed pocket at the bottom, so if you catch it a little bit low, it's not going to balloon up in the air, so you're going to maintain good spin rates. We also have the flighted CG. Now, each head is individually optimized, which basically has the CG in the correct place going from iron all the way into those longer irons, basically making your scoring irons really controllable, nice heights, great spins, but that's consistent all the way into those longer irons, making them even easier to hit. Now, the Mizuno JPX 925s don't have flighted CG, but they do it a little bit differently. They use a 4120 chromalloy material, basically from your 4 down into your 7, which gives you great ball speeds, especially on those miss hits, but basically just makes those irons, which are a little bit hard to hit, a little bit easier to hit. Now, in the shorter irons from 8 to gap wedge, they use a precision milled carbon steel, basically giving you a little bit more control and a bit more spin, just to make sure those scoring irons, you get as much control as possible. Now, another key point is the triple cut sole design. This is quite an impressive bit of technology. Very simple, but very effective. This is essentially going to cut through the ground very easily and also exit the ground really quickly as well. So you're going to get a great contact, especially when you're trying to compress the golf ball. Sound and feel now, and the P790 was brilliant. Really soft, came off like a bullet, especially across the face as well. Had a couple miss hits, and I have to say I was very, very impressed. The acoustic's not as, I would say, solid as the Mizuno, as the JPX 925, but it is very, very impressive. You can definitely see it doesn't want to drift up or spin. It's a really nice ball flight. I really, really liked it and found it was really easy to compress the ball and get some great speeds off as well. If I move on to the JPX, the 925, I was very impressed with how this felt. Really responsive, a lot of feedback. So if you are someone who likes to work the ball and get a nice bit of responsiveness in the hands, this is brilliant. I just found it was just that little bit better at getting through the turf just with that sole design. It really did just get through very, very quickly. And I could see with the divot pattern, it's nice and shallow as well. Really impressive, felt great, but just a little bit firmer in feel. All right, forgiveness. P790, brilliant, really, really impressive. Definitely felt that new face design, especially across the face. No matter where you hit it, it felt very similar. You can feel it when it comes off the middle, comes off like a bullet. Even when you hit it across though, whether it's heel or toe, it's still really, really nice. So no matter where you hit it, you're gonna get great ball strikes. And the spin as well doesn't deviate too much either. Just a lot of consistency in the P790, very impressive. Now the Mizuno 925 JPXs, I actually really like these. They felt really good across the face, but the one thing I would say, they did spin a little bit more, which is fine if you're looking to get a little bit more spin. But that's the one thing I thought when hitting them a little bit across kind of heel and toe, a little bit more spin. Really easy to launch though, and they feel great. A little bit more, I would say, kind of like you would expect a Mizuno to kind of feel if you're looking at, you know, CBs. That's what you kind of get in this player's distance iron. You still get that same feel. All right, it's time to talk numbers, my favorite bit. Really interesting. We'll kick it off with ball speed. The P790, 6 mile an hour quicker than the JPX 95s at 154 mile per hour. Club speed exactly the same. The total distance, however, and this is what you expect, obviously, with that ball speed difference, is 10 yards. So P790 is going 210 yards in comparison to the JPX going 200 yards, right on the nose. Great spin, great control though, especially with those longer irons. And one thing I really liked was the consistency from both were really, really very good. I would just think the height ever so slightly higher with the Mizunos, but that was it. Still pretty close, but the ball speed being that big difference in the longer irons. Now, if we come down into the 7 iron, pretty much like for like. Ball speed's right on 148. Distance 178 to 180. Very, very similar. But again, the one thing I liked about the Mizunos is I could hit pretty much any shot. There's a lot of playability, a lot of control. So if you are someone who likes to shape the ball, absolutely fantastic. With the P790s, the one thing I did notice was with that softer kind of strike as well, they do come off really, really hot. But I would say the only difference was if you are trying to compress it, it doesn't quite come out the ground as quick as the Mizunos. But that's it. That's the only real difference, I would say, with that 7 iron. If we go into that scoring iron, into the 9 iron, this is where it gets interesting. There's a lot more spin with the P790s, so if you are looking for that control, it is there. Really good. Quite high at 9,000. Going into, obviously, the Mizuno, it's at 8,200. So a big difference, obviously, in spin there. Now, obviously, with spin and that difference in spin, the distance is going to obviously fluctuate as well. So with the P790, you're coming at 140 in total, 142 carry. So you're getting a lot of backspin as well. So if you are looking for spin in those lower irons, P790, really very impressive. The JPX is going that little bit further in those shorter irons, 148, and again, total distance of 147. So again, getting a nice bit of backspin, but at 8,200, you're just going to get a little bit more. Now the JPX, what I would say is if you're someone that struggles to get, you know, the club through the ground, that new sole design is absolutely fantastic. You've got all the forgiveness, especially in that Cortex design in the back as well. And it feels great off the face. Loads of workability, and if you're that kind of player that likes to move it from left to right or right to left, this ticks a lot of boxes as well. Now, going into the P790, I'll be honest, this is great. I really like the speed and the distance that this has to offer, especially in those longer irons. Really easy to hit, really forgiving. And in those shorter irons as well, you have so much spin and control that you really can take on the pins. For me, this edges it. I just like the look of it at address, and it's a little bit more my style as well. Now, if you haven't already, give us a sub, give us a like. We'll see you next time.